First, remove your no spill lid. Next, remove your faucets by turning them counterclockwise. Finally, remove the washers from the metal and plastic waterways. Next, remove the screws from the back of the cooler. Two are located in the middle back of the cooler. And then two are located at the bottom of the back of the cooler. Next, carefully place your cooler down on its back, on a table or somewhere elevated. Remove the 4 screws from the bottom of the cooler as shown. Next, slightly remove your cabinet by just pulling at the back of the cooler until the cabinet slides forward just enough to reach behind the condenser bracket. Now, install your power supply using the screws and bracket provided. Position your bracket horizontally over the power supply. Make sure it is positioned above the hot tank drain plug. Next, using a drill and the screws provided, screw in the bracket to the back of the condenser. Make sure not to over-tighten as to bend the condenser bracket. Next, connect your power supply splitter cable to your power supply. Zip tie the power supply cable to your cooler's main power cable. Begin by measuring 1.5 inches from the center of your waterways. Mark it. Use an 11/16 drill bit and do not drill more than a ½ inch into the cabinet. You can mark your drill bit with a piece of tape a ½ inch down from the drill bit to make sure you don't go in too far. Take the end of your sensor cable that plugs into your power supply cable and stick it through the hole drilled in your cabinet. Next, push the cables into the cabinet to the right side of the cabinet. Now tape the end of your sensor cables to hold them in place so they don't fall through your cabinet. On the back side of your cooler, take the sensor cables from the inside of your cabinet and bring them up and around the top of the black metal plate on the condenser bracket. Zip tie these to the top part of the condenser bracket so that they stay in place. Next, connect your sensor wires to the split power cable. Take your power and sensor cables that are now connected and fold them into a bundle. Take a zip tie to tie them together. Once zip tied together, place your bundled wires behind the black metal plate on the condenser bracket. Secure your power cables by zip tying them to your condenser bracket. Snip any extra length of zip tie that may be sticking out of the back of the cooler. To reinstall the cabinet, push your cooler back into its cabinet, then lay it flat on its back gently. Begin reinstalling your cabinet by screwing in the 4 screws at the bottom of the cooler. Stand your cooler up and screw the 4 screws now into the back of the cooler. Reinstall your washers back over your waterways. Install your new faucets by turning them counterclockwise over the waterways with the washer installed. Keep turning until it fits nice and secure. It should push the washer all the way back into place. Make sure that you're installing the hot side faucet onto the metal waterway and the cold side faucet onto the plastic waterway. Connect your sensor wires to your sensor cover. Make sure you match up the correct color of wire with the correct color receiver. White to white and blue to blue on the cook and cold side, and then red to red and white to white on the hot and cold side. Slide your sensor cover over your faucet and gently push it until you feel it snap into place. Make sure you're hiding any wires left over behind your sensor cover. Do the same thing with your other side. Reinstall your no spill device lid onto the top of your cooler. Hold your hand 1 to 2 inches to the side of the sensor on the cold side faucet until you hear a beep. This signals dispensing. Hold hand directly above the sensor on top of the hot side faucet until you hear a beep, which signals it has been unlocked. Next, hold your hand next to the sensor on the side of the hot side cover until you hear a beep, which signals dispensing.